I forgot Star Trek. DS9's Quark had the weirdest TNG Season 1 appearance. It's funny how hindsight reshapes what we notice in Star Trek. Watching Deep Space Nine, Quark feels like such a fully formed character that it's hard to imagine the franchise before him. He's a greedy, opportunistic, but strangely lovable Ferengi whose bar becomes a kind of anchor for the series' moral and cultural debates. But rewatching Star Trek, The Next Generation Season 1, I had a sudden realization. Quark's DNA is hiding in plain sight, and his first appearance comes in one of the weirdest, most awkward episodes of TNG's shaky debut year, long before Armin Shimerman made him an icon. That episode, of course, is The Last Outpost. It aired in 1987 and was meant to introduce the Ferengi as Star Trek's new big villains, a replacement for the Klingons now that they'd been diplomatically softened. What we got instead was something closer to slapstick than menace, and the episode quickly earned its place in fan lore as one of the more unintentionally comedic hours of TNG. But watching it today, especially after loving DS9, I can't help but see something fascinating. Quark's seeds were sown here, in all their bizarre, awkward glory. The first Ferengi, hardly threatening, mostly ridiculous. In The Last Outpost, the Enterprise chases a Ferengi vessel for allegedly stealing a Federation energy converter. When both ships are trapped in a mysterious force field around an ancient Khan outpost, Riker leads an away team to the planet below, where they finally meet the Ferengi face to face. And what a meeting it is. The Ferengi are portrayed as twitchy, squealing tricksters with energy whips, yes, whips, and oversized head prosthetics. They leap around like hyperactive monkeys, gnash their teeth, and deliver lines with cartoon villain energy. This was supposed to be Star Trek's new major antagonist? It's almost impossible to take them seriously. Yet one of those Ferengi was played by Armin Shimerman, yes, the very same actor who would later perfect Quark on Deep Space Nine. Shimerman himself has admitted that he hated the performance. He felt boxed in by the heavy prosthetics and embarrassed by the direction to play the Ferengi as manic and animalistic. Still, in retrospect, there's a strange charm to watching his proto-Quark performance. It's as if Quark himself is buried inside, waiting for a chance to evolve. Quark's DNA was always there. Here's where things get weirdly fun. If you squint past the camp, you can actually see the outlines of Quark in Shimerman's first Ferengi role. The greed is there. When he hisses about profit and bargaining, you can practically hear the rules of acquisition being born. The physicality is there, yes. It's dialed up to 11. But Shimerman's little crouches and hand movements anticipate the more subtle body language he would later give Quark. And even the humor is there. Though unintended at the time, the Ferengi's antics are so over the top that they make you laugh, just not in the way TNG's writers hoped. It's almost like Star Trek stumbled into one of its greatest creations by accident. The Ferengi as villains never worked. They were too silly, too exaggerated, too unserious. But as comedic foils, as businessmen, as scheming opportunists, that idea had potential. And Shimerman was the perfect actor to redeem it, from mockery to masterpiece. By the time Deep Space Nine rolled around in 1993, Star Trek had learned its lesson. Instead of trying to make the Ferengi terrifying, the writers leaned into their ridiculousness, reimagining them as space capitalists, greedy, petty, and frequently hilarious. Suddenly, what had once been laughable became brilliant satire. And at the center of that reinvention was Quark. Shimerman, perhaps fueled by his embarrassment over those early TNG roles, poured everything into creating a layered, fascinating character. Quark wasn't just comic relief. He was also shrewd, loyal in his own way, and deeply representative of Ferengi culture. Across DS9, he became a kind of moral counterweight to the Starfleet crew, often calling out their hypocrisy while embodying his own kind of integrity. What's wild is that all of that came from the ashes of The Last Outpost. The very performance that once made fans groan turned out to be the unlikely blueprint for one of Star Trek's most beloved characters. Why this forgotten appearance still matters. Rewatching early TNG now, I don't just cringe at the Ferengi introduction, I kind of treasure it. Yes, it's awkward. Yes, it's one of the weaker Season 1 stories. But it's also a fascinating artifact of Star Trek's creative process. It shows how the franchise experiments, stumbles, and sometimes accidentally sets the stage for greatness. And it's a reminder of Armin Shimmerman's talent. Few actors in Star Trek have had the chance to completely reinvent a species. He went from being one of the most mocked guest stars in TNG's first season to building one of the richest, funniest, and most enduring characters in all of Star Trek. That's not just impressive. It's